is defunding the police, which is what this says.
The entire time.
This is so typical of what the Democrats do now. After your policies have transparently failed and led to the deaths of millions of Americans, now you say you've never heard of defunding the police. Your own report recommends it on page after page after page. Let me ask about something else you say. Here's what you say we ought to invest in. Instead of funding the police, here's what we ought to invest in. We need to invest in programs that acknowledge the need for safe space initiatives led by lesbian, gay, bisexual, two-spirit, trans, and gender nonconforming people.
This is your report. That's Senator Josh Hawley calling out a former Biden White House advisor in real time as the truth comes crashing down. If you care about law and order, accountability, and exposing Washington doublespeak, grab a seat, get comfortable, and make sure you like and subscribe. Let's dive right back into it.
Thanks to all the witnesses for being here. Ms. Cook, I want to say thank you especially to you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for telling your story. And I'm sorry for what you and your family have had to endure. And it's powerful to have you here today. Thank you very much. I want to talk about some of these policies that have gotten to where we are today. Mr. Jackson, if I could just start with you. You were Deputy Director in the Biden White House for gun violence and a special assistant to the president. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
You're also affiliated with the Community Justice Action Fund. Is that correct?
Yes, I'm also a survivor of gun violence.
You were their executive director. When was that, the Community Justice Action Fund?
2021 to 2023.
And you're affiliated with them now?
Yes, as executive advisor.
Okay. The Community Justice Action Fund, do you disclose your donors?
Yes.
All of the donors are public?
Yes.
You're funded by the Tides Advocacy Group, among others?
They're a fiscal sponsor.
This is, right.
They
that would be
handle
a donor.
our HR.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is a George Soros-funded group?
No.
He's one of the donors?
No.
He's a donor to the Tides Advocacy Group?
Yeah, that's our fiscal sponsor. So they handle our HR, our back office, our operations.
Great. Okay. Great. So in other words, I mean,
we're one of 300 organizations.
Right, that they run. You are a subset
we
of them.
pay them to be a fiscal sponsor.
Well, you are a subset of that organization, which he helps to fund, right? Okay. All right. Just wanted to get a level set here. So I want to ask you about some of the policies that you've advocated because they're exactly what we see implemented in these blue cities, like defunding the police.
No.
Indeed.
That's not. We advocate for.
Wait, I haven't asked a question yet. We'll get to. I've got a lot of questions. Believe me, and I'll give you time. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about this report that you issued when you were executive director, a policymaker's playbook. And I'll ask you to enter it into the record, Mr. Chairman.
Great.
Without objection.
Thank you. In this report, you advocate, and I quote now, defunding the police because the long-term goal is fundamentally to reimagine how the state serves its citizens in the project of public safety. You go on to say police departments traumatize residents through a destructive cycle of racist over-policing, and the answer is not to add any more money to police budgets. Talk to me about, why is it that denying policing to the most vulnerable communities is a solution? I know that's what the blue cities are doing, but why is that a good idea?
Well, look, I in no way stand with defunding law enforcement.
That's what your report says.
Sheriff Mike Sheridan, who taught me how to drive when I was 16 years old.
Wait. Your report, when your executive director said you wanted to defund the police, do you renounce this report? Mr. Jackson, do you renounce the report that you authored as executive director? Here it is.
You're the second senator to bring up an op-ed
This isn't an op-ed. This is your report, a policymaker's playbook to reduce gun violence without policing communities.
Okay.
Community Justice Action Fund, copyright 2023, when you were executive director. Now you say you don't know anything about it. Now you say that you haven't heard of it, just like the Democrats who all of a sudden say, we're all for the police. They've been advocating defunding them for years.
Okay, well, you can look at documents or you can look at results.
My question is, do you renounce this report now? You say you no longer agree with this.
And my answer is that I led the efforts to invest $42 billion in law enforcement.
You've advocated defunding the police as executive director of an organization that you still lead and are affiliated with.
Never see me advocate for that directly. What you see me advocate for is a comprehensive approach to reducing violence.
Right. The comprehensive approach is defunding the police, which is what this says.
The entire time.
This is so typical of what the Democrats do now. After your policies have transparently failed and led to the deaths of millions of Americans, now you say you've never heard of defunding the police. Your own report recommends it on page after page after page. Let me ask about something else you say. Here's what you say we ought to invest in. Instead of funding the police, here's what we ought to invest in. We need to invest in programs that acknowledge the need for safe space initiatives led by lesbian, gay, bisexual, two-spirit, trans, and gender nonconforming people. What's two-spirit?
Well, look, I don't know exactly. You guys are pulling some interesting quotes.
This
here.
is from your report.
If you look at the report, the focus is on investing in violence intervention, outreach workers.
You say that you shouldn't invest in the police, but we ought to invest in two-spirit community programs that acknowledge two-spirit individuals.
We are not going to discriminate
what is that?
We're not going to discriminate against any nonprofit that
what
wants
is
to help us prevent violence in our community.
What is two-spirit? You say don't fund the police, but do fund programs that create safe spaces for two-spirit people. What is? I just want to know. I don't know what that is. I have no idea what that is.
Well, I honestly, I'm not completely aware of the language or the
you
spirit
wrote the
of how that was
report.
written. But what I'm telling you is that what
is a two-spirit individual? I mean, really, this is your policymaker's playbook. You are the witness called by the Democrats on this committee, so I assume you reflect their views. Well, you don't want to fund the police. You want to fund safe spaces for two-spirit individuals. What is a two-spirit person?
I feel like I'm looking at a two-faced individual because you talk about reducing
violence. Oh, no, sir.
Violence.
You're looking at somebody who's reading you your own words, and I'd like to hear an answer.
Programs.
Here's the answer. The answer is you don't have any solutions. You want to invest in gobbledygook and take away money from police officers who actually keep our communities safe, and when you're called on the record, you deny it. It's all there in black and white, and your record is there in black and white, and it's a disgrace.
We reduced homicides by 31%, and as someone who's been shot and nearly killed, I take offense that you would think that the last 13
that you
years
won't answer my
we're not
questions,
focused on
that you
reducing
deny
violence.
your own words, and that you are leading this committee astray. And frankly, sir, your policies are absurd. They're absurd.
I don't think we're getting any place, so let's...
This Senate hearing went completely off the rails the moment Senator Josh Hawley started asking basic questions, and the witness couldn't give basic answers. Hawley was questioning Gregory Jackson, Jr., a former Biden White House deputy director for gun violence policy and a leader at the Community Justice Action Fund. Hawley starts by laying the groundwork, confirming Jackson's roles and affiliations, and then moves straight to the heart of the issue, the policies Jackson has publicly advocated. Hawley introduces a report Jackson authored while serving as executive director of his organization, a so-called policymaker's playbook that explicitly argues for defunding the police and replacing traditional policing with so-called alternative community programs. And that's where everything falls apart. When Hawley reads Jackson's own words back to him, Jackson suddenly claims he does not support defunding the police. Hawley doesn't let it slide. He presses him again and again, asking a simple question. Do you renounce this report, yes or no? Jackson refuses to give a straight answer. Hawley then exposes the contradiction. On one hand, Jackson says he supports law enforcement. On the other hand, the report he authored argues that police departments traumatize communities and should not receive more funding. Hawley calls it out for what it is, the same defund the police rhetoric Democrats push for years and now pretend never happened. Then the hearing takes an even stranger turn. Hawley points to another section of the report calling for funding safe space initiatives led by LGBTQ and two-spirit groups instead of investing in policing. Hawley simply asks what two-spirit means. The witness can't explain it. That's when Hawley delivers the knockout punch. He tells Jackson this is exactly the problem: vague ideology, buzzwords, and radical theories replacing real solutions, while police are stripped of resources and communities pay the price. Jackson tries to deflect by citing crime reduction numbers and personal experience, but Hawley shuts it down, reminding him that his own written record tells a very different story. By the end, the exchange completely collapses. The contradictions are exposed. The denial is on full display. And Hawley makes it crystal clear. These policies aren't compassionate, they're dangerous, and Americans are the ones suffering for them. Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit like, subscribe for more no-nonsense political breakdowns, share this with friends who care about the truth, and I'll see you in the next one.